a little exhortation before we go to the next. We want to, one of the things that affects the home. We cannot be fruitful if the house is in chaos. So we want to talk about how to curb siblings rivalry in our children. You just see that children are growing and they start to have their differences, and to sort it is problem. So we want to talk about that today. And Bible admonishes us to train our child or our children. That is why we are doing this. If you look at the case of Abraham in Genesis 18:19, God said, God trusted Abraham that he would train his children. He trusted him, and that was one of the reasons God blessed Abraham. Proverbs 22:6 says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. But to train a child is not just your mouth. It's not just praying about it alone. You have to put in some effort to do especially things like this. So we want to talk about your nature and the nurture. Your nature is who you are, and your nurture is how you now put all those things you know into training a child. Just tell somebody by your side, who are you? Who are you? Can you answer that question? Do you know yourself? If you know yourself, let me just see a wave of it. You know yourself. God bless us. We know ourselves. Don't let us deceive ourselves. We know ourselves. Everybody knows our problem. And why do we want to talk about ourselves before we talk about nurture? We want to talk about ourselves. When I was putting this together, one of the things that struck my attention was the story of Jacob and Joseph. It's an old bunch, from Genesis 25 to 28, we read about the story of Jacob. When Isaac was dying, Jacob, with Rebekah's help, cheated Esau out of his father's blessing. Esau would have killed Jacob, but Jacob fled. And when he returned after 20 years, Esau forgave him. Jacob had a problem, a greedy person. That was why he cheated his brother, right? That's his own nature. Now, he cheated his brother. Although the mama helped anyway, because mama, the Lord will help us in Jesus' name. Genesis 37 to 50, we read the account of Joseph. Joseph was one of Jacob's 12 sons. His father loved him more than any of other and gave him a colored cloth. Can you see that nature of Joseph had played again? The mother loved Jacob more than Esau. Now Jacob has picked his own love again. Nature. His brothers were jealous of him and sold him into slavery. Esau was jealous of Jacob, and Jacob ran away. He was taken to Egypt and eventually became a steward to Potiphar, one of Pharaoh's officials. Joseph saw his brother again after 22 years. Jacob saw his brother again after 20 years. The three lessons we are learning from these two captions is that if you don't prayerfully solve your foundational issues, it might replicate themselves in your children and might be more intense. Those things that you are battling with, if you don't prayerfully solve it and be sincere with yourself, face your mirror and work it out, you will see that you do more work training a child, because the child has sucked your breast, is taking it directly from you. It's your gene. So until the Holy Spirit helps you to change your DNA from that bad habit, you find it replicating themselves in your children, and it might be intense. You see, Jacob's son was 20, Joseph's son was 22 years. The second one is be sincere about your bad habits and correct them. Jacob was greedy and it replicated itself. The third one, your children is your photocopy in nature and deeds. If you like, take it or leave it. My father is always saying something that even if a child does not meet his father's life, you will look at the child and say, oh mom, I remember when I was serving, I worked where my father, I served where my father worked in NNPC. And one day I was working, my boss was an Hausa man. So one day somebody just called my surname. And the man said, don't tell me the Makinde of DPR. Somebody said yes. Said yes, I know. I don't know the no, but he knows. He was so sure about it. So unconsciously, I don't know what he's talking about, but fortunately he likes me. He's always giving me things and everything. He made me enjoy the work. But the truth is, there was something that made him make that statement. So that is our children. So we need to correct our nature before we can train. Things like this is something you have to be conscious about, so that nurture will be easy to do. Now we are going into what exactly sibling rivalry. What I put down here is sibling rivalry is jealousy, competition, fighting between brothers and sisters. It's a concern for almost all parents of 2 or more kids. Problem often starts after they give birth to the second one. Second child. Sibling rivalry usually continues throughout childhood and can be frustrating and stressful to parents. It can continue for a lifetime if not curbed. If you don't curb it, it's natural about kids. Put a 9-month-old and a 9-year-old, they will bite themselves. It's natural. Just put them together. So it's something that is embedded in us. So now that you have worked with your nature, nurturing a kid now, you want to be very careful about what you do. Reasons for adult rivalry. The first reason is the firstborn. I'm guilty too. The firstborn are always the head of the house. You see the parents saying, she's older than you. Sometimes we do the wrong thing and my dad will say, they will just pardon me like that because I'm the oldest. You have to be careful about that. Because when you're trying to lord it over them, that is your big sister, you are sending some things to a child's memory and they're recording it. They have this way of capturing all those things. The Lord will help us in Jesus' name. Amen. Aging parents. When we start to age, that little child that is with us, the one that is maybe little at that time or maybe living with us, we tend to try to use them as our dog. So before you know when he's doing anything, you want to over pamper. Leave her now, you know she doesn't know what she's doing. You're 18-year-old, she doesn't know what she's doing. 5 years old, she doesn't know what, because she's the favorite as at that time. It's little. It doesn't mean anything to we parents, but it matters to the kids. Because a child sees only you as the first affectionate person. So they are struggling for your affection. You might not say it. They are struggling for it. Everybody wants to be under the bosom of the father, the bosom of the mother. When the mother conduits them, you see that wide smile. They love it. So you have to be careful. Then jealousy. We talked about jealousy. Naturally, jealousy is inhuman. Maybe your nature, they've taken it and things like that. So you have to watch out for jealousy when your kid is small. You have to watch it out. When you see that one is wearing a purple and one is wearing a blue, and that one refused to take his house away from the purple, talk about it. Talk about it before it goes beyond what you think. Personality difference. Some children are naturally smarter. Some children are naturally quiet. You get it? Some children, what they want, they can keep it, they won't ask you. But some children, they will put themselves in your truth and get that thing. So, as you see that you have a kid that is in your throat and one is being neglected, watch out. Because everybody cannot be the same. Some people want it, but they can't ask for it. But some people know how to ask for it. So, you have to watch out their personality difference. Then parental appreciation. Every time a child does something, when you are appreciating that child for that thing, say it out. Don't let them see that this person is always getting a gift. Fine, the person has done something nice. So you just give, you just give, you just give. After a while, they see that that child has more things than me. You're not talking about, they don't see the reason for them to do that thing so that they get that gift. So you're just, before you know it, you see that the home is divided. And one is daddy's child, one is mommy's child, and that thing is growing. Before you know, they get out of your house and they can't come together again. That's children rivalry. How to look out for all these things. Your children need to feel that you love and value them equally, all the same way. I don't know how we do it, but God will help us. You just have to paint that thing in them, that you love them equally, no matter what is happening in that house. They won't feel they have to compete, like I said earlier on. Don't let them feel they have to compete for your affection. Immediately a child is competing for your affection, that one that has the affection is the problem. Like Joseph. Joseph has all the affection. He has a colored clothes. Maybe they all have one colored clothes. But somebody has 12 colored clothes in the same house. Naturally, you have put that child in problem. Because children are just like that. That is the way God created them. Even as adults, let's face reality. Thank God for our fathers that they don't know how to keep two women. Can you stay in another woman in the house and the daddy is always calling that woman? Something will happen. Something will definitely happen in that house. So you see, let's face reality. Sibling rivalry is something to watch out for, because nobody wants to struggle for affection. Everybody wants somebody to love them. You have to look out for every child's need. You have to look out for it. That is why God has given us large hearts. Just try and look out for their needs. Watch them. Watch, like any mother that does not have eye on details. You need to watch yourself. You need to, it's something you just have to learn. Some mothers don't care. It's nature. Like we said earlier on, you just have to learn to have eyes on details. When a child is kicking, you should know why the child is kicking. Because it might mean 100 things to the child that is kicking, but you don't care. You just say stop that. So the Lord will help us in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Set clear family rules. God is of order. Our home should be in order. Our home should be in order. If there is no rule anywhere, there will be chaos. There will be chaos, because now there is no rule. And somebody naturally, the way God created them, some children, they are like adults. They keep rules that you didn't give them. But some people are just naturally the way God creates them. They can jump from this chair to that chair and the other chair. You did not give them any rules. Now the one that is sitting down, you are not giving that one. You say you are just quiet. I just love you. You give that one gifts. You get what I'm saying? There's no rules. You didn't tell that child jumping on chair here is wrong. And the child, that's the way he is. You need to make him learn to do those things that you want. So by rules in the house, talk about it. Bring them round to even create rules in the house, so that they will know when to break the rule and when to keep the rules. And anybody that breaks the rule, make sure there's a consequence for it. So that eventually there won't be as if there's no rule. Eventually, because you can create rule and don't follow it to the letter. I've been to someone's house and I saw something on the fridge. It's a whole Bible. They wrote and put name and they were writing. Fine, it was so funny to me, but it was like that. When we were growing, we had something like that. In the bathroom, you see list. In the kitchen, you see the person washing plate. Fine. Some people might not like it, but the truth is, if all those things are there, there will be equal chances of them doing well. You understand? The person washing plate is always washing plate, and you don't wash it. When is your time? So when they give that person a gift, you will not feel bad, because you know what is actually happening. And even if the child comes to you, mommy, she has this, you can always explain how she got it, so that you can cope all those things. Then you set up routines that, like we just said about, routines for them. As you are setting rules, you are setting routines. A child should know that this is a home and I'm involved in that home. Everybody's involved. Don't let it be the active one. Some children like to cook, some don't like to cook, some like actions, so don't let it be one-sided. Always set routines for them to handle rivalry. Catch them being good. This goes to the African moms. We catch them only when they are bad. You won't see an African mom when you do something good pat you at the back or hug you. But just do something bad, we have this loudspeaker under our voice. The way we carry the matter, the way you will carry it, so the children doesn't they are clapping. It is well with you. So this loudspeaker, everybody has it. I have it. My mom has a super one. So my brother told my mom one day that the way my mommy shouts made her know that Jesus was able to talk to 5,000 people in the wilderness. So we got it from God. Jesus talked to 5,000 people in the wilderness without microphone. Clap for us, Daddy. So it is well, but please let us catch them doing good. When that loudspeaker too, put that megaphone when they do good, so that when they do bad, when you put the megaphone, they will know it's 50-50. Coach your children. Please coach them. Don't just be shouting on them. Let's sit down, let's talk, let's coach. You are their coach. You are their coach. You are the one that is sitting. What you see when you are sitting down, when they are on the tree, they can't see it. So it's not their fault. We've been there. So please, let's coach them. Then let's learn how to cool down hot spots. Hot spots. When you see children fighting or arguing, you just carry the one that is your own. I know you caused it. The one that is your own. She's always quiet. It's you. It's you. It happens to me too, because my mommy will say it's you that is causing the problem because your daddy is around. So they just carry. They just carry. So let's face reality. All these things, they are funny. It doesn't matter. But we are planting it in the children and it's growing. And you just, when they are grown, or when they start to talk about it, you'll be amazed at, so all these little things, look at these children, this little thing that I just gave this one, chocomilo, 1 naira, you are greedy. But that chocomilo that you gave to this one, that the one could not, it has gone a long way and they are breeding it. And so let's learn how to do hot spots. Immediately you see that there's a hot spot, even if you want to punish them, let every one of them talk out their mind. Let them say their mind before you punish them. My mom will just come to you when you are fighting and put the two head and jam it together. So I don't know why, so that you will not fight again. But eventually we still fought. You get it? We still fought. So definitely that didn't work. It didn't work. So learn how to cook, because that hot spot, they might put it in their minds. They are human. They might put it and it might go a long way. The Lord will help us in Jesus' name. It's not easy, but God will help us. Let children work it out sometimes. Sometimes pretend as if you are not in the house. Just look at them. Watch from distance, then talk about it later. It's not every time you come in between them. They are siblings. Let them work some things out and see the faults and talk to them about it. It's not, you don't, fine, you are the coach. Fine, you are there to, but sometimes that hot argument, they might bring something out of it. Just pretend sometimes. When it's getting hot, you know when it's getting hot, and we've talked about how to cool the hot spot. But sometimes you don't need to come in between them. They just need to sort it out. They need to grow their intellectual, they need to grow their brain to know how to solve problems. Even if they don't solve it among themselves, when they go out, they won't know how to solve problems. Then the last one that I want us to know is a family that prays together stays together. When you don't allow children to pray together, give them challenges that will make them pray for each other. When one is sick, just keep your mouth shut. Tell them, go and pray for your sister. See what they can say. Let it come from their heart. See that love between them. It goes a long way. And I want to add at this point is that, please, mothers, let the home be filled with love. A child that comes out from a home with love is always different. Don't deceive yourself. When you see a child that comes from a bad home, a broken home, it takes God to fix their life. When you see a child from a loving home, where love is filled with, there's always something different about them. The Lord will help us in Jesus' name. And our children will not be wayward. Sibling rivalry will not be in our house. In Jesus' name. Amen.